Hey guys, it's Tessa. So today I'm gonna make a pair of socks. I have made one pair in the past. Let me grab them. You're gonna have to ignore the dog hair on them because they're 100% wool, and dog hair sticks to wool like nobody's business apparently. But these are the socks I made previously. They're both more like slippers because I made them a little bit too large. But these are made from the Brooklyn Tweeds Tones Light in the, I believe it's Persimmon Overtone, I think. But yeah, so I made this pair of socks probably 2 years ago at this point. I don't really wear these ones because the wool is really rough and not pleasant. But I just have them still. But for today's video, we are going to be using the K&C brand. And it is in the Superwash Wool Luxe. And it's in this orange color called Pumpkin Pie. I've had this yarn specifically for a couple months now, I think. And I've just been kind of waiting to do this project. Because I only have 2 balls of it and I'm really worried about running out of yarn, I am going to do these socks toe up, which I've never done before. And they're probably going to be more like ankle socks, which is fine with me. I don't really care. The smallest size in my lovely circular needles is a 3.5, so that might be a little too thin for this yarn. And if that's the case, I'm just going to hold one strand of the Superwash and then hold one strand of the either this yarn again, because I have some of it left, but the smallest size I have in my interchangeable needles is a 3.5, so that might be a little bit thin for this yarn. Worst case scenario, I'm holding it double with either the Brooklyn Tweeds or the, like, it's called like baby alpaca or something. It's whatever I made the woodland cardigan out of, or the forest plants, whatever the heck I ended up naming it. It's whatever that yarn is. I'll put it here if I remember. But I'll hold it double with one of those too because I have a little bit left for each of those. I'm more inclined, if I am going to hold double with those, using the Brooklyn Tones, just because it's not as rough, I feel, as the baby alpaca, but that could just be me. I'll maybe do a couple little swatches and see how that works out. But that is the plan. Let's get started. I should also note, I'm not really using any pattern for this. I'm just kind of taking my best shot. I'm looking at a pattern just for how to start the toe up portion of the socks, and I think I'm going to try to do 2 at a time, so I'm going to use a longer cable and go from there. Okay, I have both sets of the starting stitches casted on. We're getting somewhere. It's 24 stitches for each toe to start, and then on this pattern, basically we're increasing 4 stitches on every row after this first row until we're up to 64 stitches. Alright, I lied. Not doing this toe up. I'm getting so frustrated with how finicky this is. Also, the fact that it wants me to increase literally every row sucks and is terrible. We got this far, and I'm starting over on both of them, and I'm just gonna do one at a time because I'm losing my mind. Okay, so for the sock, I've gotten through the whole heel portion. I think I checked in, but I don't remember. But basically I got through the whole heel portion. I did the usual heel I do. I don't actually know what it's called. And then I got through the heel stitches, and I started doing the decreasing for the rest of the foot. I don't know what it's called, or I can't remember what it's called. But I realized I started with 4 too little stitches. So I should have started with 4 extra stitches, because when I finish doing the decreasing here, my pattern's going to be off. So my solution to that is to just decrease an additional 4 stitches. So I started with 68 and I'm decreasing to 64 instead. And that should keep my pattern and just make the foot a little bit more narrow, which should be fine. But I'm going to finish getting through that, and then I will check in once I have the first sock done, or if I have any issues with the toe. Alright, so I got quite a bit farther on my sock. It's basically done. I just have a couple more rows of the toe left. I didn't mention this previously, but I should have. I'm gonna try to Kitchener stitch the toe, which makes me a little nervous. I often get the Kitchener stitch confused. Like I do it backwards somehow. So I'm not really excited for that, especially since this yarn's like a roving type of yarn and not like a stranded yarn. And that's just gonna be a pain in the ass if I have to, you know, pull the thread back out or anything. But yeah, we have the first foot almost done. For the other foot, I'm just gonna start with 64 stitches and go from there. Mostly that's just because my feet are 2 different shoe sizes and I want these to be fitted or comfortable. So I'll do 64 for the slightly smaller foot. And that should work, I hope. I also think, which I don't know why I'm always so surprised by this every time, but I think I have enough of the one skein probably to make an entire second sock. I thought I would not have enough, like at all, but I think I do. So that's gonna be fun. Goal for today or soon, finish the first sock, and then we're good to go. All right, so I took a little bit of a break working on my sock. I was getting really nervous about the toe section here. For some reason I had it in my head when I tried it on. It was already too large for my foot, so I think somehow I convinced myself of that, so I stopped working on it. But I currently have 32 stitches remaining, and I'm trying to decide if the smart choice here is to stop here, because a lot of sock patterns, you have like, you use double pointed needles, so you have 16 stitches on each needle, and that equals 32. Or do I do one more round or one more set of the knit around, decrease row, the next row, to make us go down to 28. I don't know. I think the smarter decision is just to stop here and close the toe. I'm gonna be using my least favorite technique in the world because I hate myself. Basically, I'm using the Kitchener stitch, which I'm not good at, and I regularly flip the direction in which it's supposed to work in. So I usually close it purl side instead of knit side up, which doesn't make any sense, and I don't really know how I make that mistake every single time. But what I'm gonna do for that is knit a couple of stitches so that I am on essentially where the decreases were happening here. Oops, come on. So the decreases here, you still can't see that. There we go. So the decreases here, you can see I had 2 stitches in between each time, so I'm going to knit to the middle point of the closest decrease tab, and that's where I'll start the Kitchener stitch at. And I will check in hopefully after the first try and everything goes perfectly fine and the sock is done. It's quite literally only been a few minutes since we spoke last, but I have bad news. Not bad news, little bad news. I cannot do the stupid Kitchener stitch. I'm losing my mind. I got to the point where I took it off the needles completely and I just have a piece of scrap thread holding all the stitches, because I'm a very visual person. So if I can see the stitches like laying flat, you know, if we're laying flat like this instead of curved right now, then I think I could visually see the way I'm supposed to go in to each of the stitches, but I can't do that because this is a corner essentially, or a side. An edge is the word I'm looking for. So my brain is trying really hard and it's not working out very well. But I've transferred it all to a piece of scrap yarn to see if that will help me much. And if I still can't figure it out, then I don't know what to do. So that's where I'm at. Next time we check in, either I will have figured this stupid toe out, or we won't speak again for a few more days. Let's find out. Okay, so I did it. I was successful. It's a little funky, I'll say that. This yarn is honestly terrible for socks, because it's a roving. I think I mentioned this previously, but it's a roving instead of like an actual yarn. At some point I messed up right here in the middle, but it still works. It still fits. It's kind of a perfect fit. My real fear now is, one, Superwash, I think is what this one is. I might be wrong. That might be a complete lie. Whatever yarn this is. From what I remember seeing, for whatever type of this yarn this is, I don't think I have the label anymore, so I can't really remember. But I believe when you go to block it, it's gonna stretch a lot, which I'm really hoping it doesn't. It's currently a perfect fit for one of my feet. I was born with something called the club foot, so one of my feet, now that I'm older, is about a shoe size. It's like a size and a half smaller than the other. So this one fits perfectly on my larger foot. Let me show you. It may even be a little bit big in the stitching. Oh gosh, let me see. See, perfect fit. Might be a little bit large in the stitching here, but I think I like it. But yeah, so it fits nicely. I think I'm already stuck in, what is it called? When you're stuck in sock, the second sock syndrome, whatever it's called. I really don't want to make the second sock for this. At least not right now. I just don't want to deal with it. I'm knitting on such small needles, it hurts my hands. I very clearly am a whiner when it comes to knitting. I'm not as good at knitting as I am at crocheting, so I really don't like knitting as much. But I think that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want to see these socks completed, or if you have any questions about how I did the heel, so you can kind of see that. I think I mentioned this previously. This is a 3x1 rib, so 3 knit, 1 purl, all the way through it, from the cuff all the way down to the toe. The toe is done in just a normal basic knit stitch, and then the heel is done in heel turn stitching. I don't know the words. I don't know how to do heel turns except for this one, or the double. Anyway, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore because I don't do knitting. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think below, and if you have any questions, I will do my best to answer them. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!